Hello students, I'm back again with my second lecture of portfolio management. I suppose that you have studied all the formulas, the six formulas that I've given to you, and we will be today taking up questions based on those six formulas. After we complete that, we will be going deeper into the subject and we will be talking about the different types of risk, systematic and unsystematic, and how to measure beta, what is the concept of beta, what is the concept of alpha, and we intend to get deeper into the theory part of this so that we can solve advanced level problems on portfolio management, which is, as I said, comprising 25% of your paper. Okay, so today we shall be starting with the questions based on the six formulas. First, we revise the six formulas and then we start with the questions. Okay, ready? All set to go? Chalo, let us start. Starting with revision of all the formulas that we have studied. So let us take up the formulas first and see what we have done in the last lecture. At the end of the last lecture, we started with these formulas: expected returns, then expected return R, that is nothing but normally we use the term X bar. So here we use the term R. So R is equal to summation of P into X, where P is the probability, X is the possible returns. Then we have risk measurement in the form of standard deviation. The standard deviation is equal to square root into square root of summation of P into X minus R the whole square. Then we have coefficient of variation, that is given by CV, and the CV formula is standard deviation upon average returns, that is sigma upon R. Then we have the next three formulas, that is expected return of the portfolio, that is given by RP, returns of portfolio RP, which is equal to the summation of weight into returns, weight of each security in the total portfolio multiplied by the returns. Then we had correlation coefficient between security X and Y, which is given as covariance of xy upon sigma x sigma y, standard deviation of x into standard deviation of y. Then we had risk of the portfolio calculated by the formula of standard deviation. Standard deviation for the portfolio, square root of the big formula wx square into sigma x square plus 2 times wx wy rxy sigma x sigma y plus wy the whole square into sigma y the whole square. Okay, so these were the questions, these were the formulas that we had studied in the last lecture. Let us now come to question number 1 from your textbook. So please refer to question 1 of your textbook. Question 1 of your textbook. Compute the expected returns and return and risk of an investment in the following conditions. Three conditions are given. If you remember, we had done example of this type. Three conditions are given, probabilities are given, and the returns are given. The returns are X values. Probability is P value, and the returns are actually X values. Find out the expected return of the security and the risk associated. Returns and risk both are asked. Okay, so let us see how to solve. We have to prepare a table showing the condition, the X values, the P values, the product of the two, and then we calculate a column, that is P into X minus R the whole square, which is the formula for the standard deviation. Now, coming to this now, expected return of portfolio, RP, we have done, correlation we have done, risk of the portfolio we have done. Let us now see how to solve the question number 1. The first thing that we need to do is we have to prepare a table. This table will have 5 columns: condition, X values, P values, product of the two, and then calculation of standard deviation. For that we require probability into square of the deviations. Conditions, 3 conditions are given to us, that is boom, stagnation and depression. X values are given to us 40, 20 and minus 10. Probabilities are also given to us 0.275, 0.450 and 0.275. We multiply now 40 into 0.275x, that is 11, 20 into 0.45, that is 9, and minus 10 into 0.275, that is 2.75 negative. Total of this 20 minus 2.75, it will be 17.25. So the expected rate of return is 17.25. That is my value of R. Now for this particular column, what I will be doing is I will be taking each value of X. Now for example 40 minus 17.25 multiplied by the probability 0.275. So if you take your calculator, you'll get the calculations here. 40 minus 17.25 multiplied by 0.275. So that you get as 142.33. Then second value, again I take 20 minus 17.25 multiplied by, that is the square I'm talking about. Each figure you have to take the square. The first one is 40 minus 17.25 square into probability 0.275. 40 minus 17.25 square it multiplied by 0.275. Second one is 20 minus 17.25 square it into 0.45. We'll get 3.4. Then minus 10. Be careful with this now. It is minus 10 minus 17.25. But when you square, you will get a positive number. Multiplied by 0.275. You will get the answer as 204.2. Total of this comes to 349.93. This is the variance. But risk of the investment is not the variance. Risk of the investment is the standard deviation. So I need to take the square root of this. So risk of the investment, square root of P into X minus R the whole square. That comes to square root of 349.93. That is 18.71%. Okay, this is clear. Let us come to question number 2. Now, let us see how question number 2 is different from question number 1. They are given the following information about a portfolio consisting of 4 securities. Security B1, B2, B3 and B4. Price at the beginning of the year is given. Price at the end of the year is given. And dividends are given. We are asked to compute the returns of the portfolio. The returns of portfolios RP. Returns of portfolios RP. Difference between this question and the earlier question is that in the earlier question, if you see here, we are given the returns in percentage form. This is given to you. This part is given to you. Now that is missing in the current problem. But what you can see is that they have given price at the beginning of the year, price at the end of the year, and the dividends. So how do we calculate the returns? Price at the end of the year. Returns are made up of two things. One is the regular rate of returns, that is dividends. Second is what? The difference in the two prices. Price at the end of the year and price at the beginning of the year. That is called as what? Capital appreciation. So 60 minus 30, okay, plus 4. That is your total returns on the investment that you have made, that is 30 rupees. So what is the formula here that I'm going to make use of? The formula here that I'm going to make use of is that I'm going to say that returns R is equal to, what is R equal to? P1 minus P0, that is capital appreciation, okay, plus the dividend, that is D1, divided by original investment P0. This is the formula that I'm going to make use of. P1 minus P0 plus D1 divided by P0. That is the investment at the beginning of the year. Point is clear? Okay. Now, after we do this, we'll get the returns, we'll get the figures which are here, like in percentage form. And then with the help of that, we move forward and we solve the problem as if it is a normal problem. But here there is a small issue, and that is that returns on the portfolio is to be calculated. So RP is equal to weight of each particular security of the total portfolio into the returns. Okay, so let us see that also. Question 2. First, what we'll write, we'll say that returns are not given. Therefore, first we'll write the returns. We'll calculate the returns. So in this case, the returns of each investment are not given. Therefore, we first calculate the returns on each security. How to calculate the returns? I've told you. D1, that is dividend, plus capital appreciation, that is price at the end of the year minus price at the beginning of the year, upon the original investment multiplied by 100. Okay. So then we have the securities, the returns to be calculated of each of the securities. If I calculate for B1, dividend is 4 rupees, price at the end is 60 rupees, minus price at the beginning 30 rupees, divided by 30, original investment into 100. So that comes to 113.33%. We round it up to 2 decimals. For B2, it is 5 plus 70 minus 40, divided by 40. For a percentage, multiply by 100. That comes to 87.5%. For B3, it is 6 plus 150 minus 50 upon original investment of 50 into 100, that is 212%. And for B4, it is 150 plus 1050 minus 1000 upon original investment of 1000 into 100, that is 20%. So now we have got all the returns. We'll prepare a table showing the weights and the returns. Okay. So 5 columns we have to prepare: security, the price, the weight, and the returns. Comfortable with this? Okay. Now, as I've told you, a lot of students have been writing messages to me individually, and a lot of feedback I'm getting. A lot of you are writing messages to ma'am also. I'm getting those messages also. Ma'am is forwarding those messages to me. And there are different opinions which are given by different students. I do consider them. For example, student sometimes says that, sir, 2 hours at a stretch, it is tedious, it is difficult. But I would say that, in a classroom, you are sitting for 3 hours, where you get a break of hardly 15 minutes or half an hour. And here we are having a lecture of, even if I increase the time to 2 hours, it will be 1 hour less than the classroom lecture. Now, if you want, you can pause the video in between and take a break of 15 minutes and come back and sit. But I think the suggestion of some students which has come, that portion is to be completed and the exams are around the corner, is also true. We cannot ignore that also. So let us try. I will also try to make efforts from my side so that I can give you the best and I can give you 2 hour session. You can watch the sessions in 1 hour each, but I will give you 2 hour sessions per day. Let us come to the solving of the table now. Security, we are having 4 types of securities: B1, B2, B3 and B4. Price is given to us 30, 40, 50, 1000 and the total is 1120. Now we calculate the weights. How to calculate the weight? Each price 30 divided by 1120, 40 divided by 1120. So each figure divided by the total will get the weights. You can use a calculator. 30 divided by 1120, I have to round it up to 2 decimals. So I get 0.03. 40 divided by 1120, rounded up to 2 decimals, I get 0.04. 50 divided by 1120, again I rounded up to 2 decimals, it is 0.04. And 1000 divided by 1120, it comes to 0.89. The total of all the weights should be equal to 1. Okay. Now the returns. The returns we have already calculated in the previous step. So I will write those returns over here. And then the weighted returns. That is each weight multiplied by the returns. Each weight multiplied by the returns. Each weight multiplied by the returns. So when I do that, I will be getting 0.03 into 113.33, 3.40. Likewise, I'll get 3.50, 8.48, 17.8. Correct? Total of all this comes to 33.18. So returns of the portfolio is equal to 33.18%. 33.18%. Each price divided by the total price 1120, you'll get the weights. Weight multiplied by the returns, you'll get the weighted returns. Okay. Now let us move to simple problem, but involving some more calculations. This type of question only, but involving some more calculations at a higher level. So let us go to question number 3. Question number 3. X Company Limited invested on 1st April 2017 in certain equity shares as below. Name of company is given, M Limited, N Limited. Number of shares is given, 1000 shares of face value 100 each. Cost is 2 lakhs. Now what I want you to do is, I want you to write down the value at which each share has been purchased. 2 lakhs divided by 1000 rupees. How much will be the cost? It is 200 rupees per share. Okay, 200 rupees per share. Second, 1,50,000 divided by 500. It is 300 per share. Am I right? 1,50,000 divided by 500. So face value may be given to you, but we have purchased it at a higher price. We purchased at the market price. So this is a market price at the beginning of the year. So my investment is what I have paid. My investment is not the issue price. My investment is what I have paid. Okay. Now, next they have given in September 2017, 10% dividend was declared by M Limited, and in October 2017, 30% dividend was paid by N Limited. On 31st March, market quotations showed a value of rupees 220 and 290 per share. This is at the end of the year. 220, this is P1 for the first year. Okay, P1 for the first year. Then on 1st April 2018, investment advisors indicate that. What do they indicate? That the dividends from M Limited and N Limited for the year ended 31st March are likely to be 20% and 35% respectively. And B, that the probabilities of market quotations on 31st March 2019 are as follows. Now, for the first year, what they have given us single price 220 here and 290 here for M Limited and N Limited. But for the second year, they have not given us one figure. They have given us three figures with three probabilities. Simple. What is to be done? Multiply probability into the market price per share. Multiply these two. 0.5 into 250, 0.3 into 280. And we'll get one single share price of M Limited. Same way, I'll take the probability factor multiplied by share price of N Limited. You are required to calculate average return from the portfolio for the year ended 31st March 2018. That is first year. Same average expected average return from the portfolio, returns from the portfolio for the second year 18-19. And then advise the company which of the two investments are having a higher risk, comparative risk, by calculating what? Standard deviation in each case. So problem is involving more calculations. It is not difficult. It is involving more calculations. Acha. Now what do you observe in this problem again? You observe in the problem again that the rate of return is not given. So first I'll calculate rate of return. Okay. And then we'll proceed. So let us see now how to calculate the rate of returns. Fine. Calculate average returns for the year ended 31st March 2018 it should be. 2018. Returns are given to us. Formula D1 plus P1 minus P0 upon P0 into 100. So for M limited, dividend is 10. Dividend is 10. Market price at the end of the year given 220. Market price at the beginning of the year given as 200. Upon my investment cost 200, which we calculated 2 lakhs divided by 1000. Correct? So that comes to 15%. For N limited, it is dividend 3 rupees. Rate of dividend is given. Rate of dividend is given. Calculate that rate of dividend on the face value. Dividend is always to be calculated on the face value. So what is the dividend for the first year? For M limited, it was 10%. 10% of 1000 rupees. So it was 100 rupees. Sorry, 10% of 100 rupees face value. So it was 10 rupees. And for N limited, it was 30% of 10 rupees. 30% of 10 rupees. Okay, done? Clear with this? So for first one, you get 15%. For second one, you get minus 2.33%. Now we'll prepare the table. Security, amount, weight, returns, weighted returns. Two securities, M limited, N limited. Amount of investment that we have done, 200 into 1000 and 1,50,000. Total investment made is 3,50,000. Now to calculate the weight as usual, what we will do, we'll take 2 lakhs divided by 3,50,000, rounded up to 2 decimals, 0.57. 2 lakhs divided by 3,50,000, 0.57. Then again 1,50,000 divided by 3,50,000, that is 0.43. Returns are given to us 15 and minus 2.33 we have calculated. So multiply now. 0.57 into 15, 0.43 into minus 2.33, 8.55 and minus 1. So that comes to 7.55. So I say average returns from the portfolio for the year ended 31st March 2018, typing error, is 7.55%. 7.55%. But this is now for the first year. For the second year ended 31st March 2019, what will be P0? P0 for the second year will be P1 of the first year. Okay, so whatever was the closing market price for the first year will become the opening market price for the second year. Closing market price has to be calculated. How? I have told you how to calculate the closing market price. Each probability multiplied to the factor to the price. Each probability multiplied to the price. Okay, let us see. Alright, for the year ended 31st March 2019, P0 will be calculated on the basis of prices on 1st April 2018. Sorry, this is 2019. 1st April 2018. But P1 needs to be calculated with the probabilities given. How? P1 for M limited, multiply each probability. Go to your book. Probability is 0.2 multiplied by 220 plus 0.5 multiplied by 250 plus 0.3 multiplied by 280. So the expected price for M limited is 253. Same way you do for price of N limited. Multiply and see. 0.2 into 290 plus 0.5 into 310 plus 0.3 into 330. Are you getting 312? Check. Once you get the opening and closing prices, use the formula for returns. D1 plus P1 minus P0 divided by P0 into 100. So for M limited, dividend now changes for the second year. Dividend for the second year they have given 20% of 1000 rupees, 100 rupees, sorry. 20% of 100 rupees face value is 20 rupees. For second company, it is 35% of 10 rupees. 35% of 10 rupees. That is 3.5. So returns of 8.79% for N limited. Now what you have to do? Now what you have to do is you have to find out what will be the value of the investment that I'm going to have. What will be the value of the investment that I will be having at the beginning of current year, that is on 1st April 2018, beginning of second year, 1st April 2018, beginning of second year, what will be the value of the investment? Pay attention now. Value of the investment, what will come here? 2,20,000. 220 into 1000. Second one, what will it be? Second one, yes, multiplied by number of shares. You'll get 1,45,000. 1,45,000. Total investment 3,65,000. Weights will be zero point 0.6 and zero point 0.4. Returns 8.79, 24.09, 14.45 and 3.52. Right, like this. Average returns from the portfolio is 17.97%. Up till here is your second part. How did we get 220? 2,20,000. 2,20,000 is market price at the end of the first year, 220, into number of shares, 1000 rupees. How did we get? So this 220 is how much? How did we get this 220? Is 1000 shares into 220. End of the first year, beginning of second year. How did you get 1,45,000? Number of shares 500 into 290. Number of shares into 290. Now come to the third part of the question. We have to calculate standard deviation. Now to calculate standard deviation, we will require some additional information. So what do we require is the probability with the returns, as we have done in the very first question. X minus R. Okay, so what is R over here? I do not know, because I do not know the returns. So what I do, I first calculate the returns. How do I calculate the returns? Only the numerator part now. P1 minus P0 plus the dividend. P1 minus P0 plus the dividend. So 220 minus 220 plus dividend of 20 is 20 rupees. Again P1. So this is nothing but P1 minus P0 for the second year I'm talking about. For the second year. So 220 minus 220 plus 20 dividend is 20 rupees here. Then 250 minus 220 plus 20. So this is D1. 50 rupees. 280 minus 220 plus 20 is equal to 80 rupees. Now, once we have got These are the different returns. These are the different returns. I will multiply this by probabilities and then I will find out the values. So let us see. Probabilities are zero point 0.2, zero point 0.5, zero point 0.3. Returns you have just calculated. Multiply the two. Zero point 0.2 into 20, 4. 0.5 into 50, 25. 0.3 into 80, 24. The total of this is 53. Now what I do? This is my value of x sum. This is my p value. Now what I do? X minus r the whole square. Each value of x, 20 minus 53 the whole square. Okay, 20 minus 53 the whole square. So I'll get 1089. There I had done directly. Here I'm splitting it up. You can do it directly also. Then this multiplied by the probability. Now 50 minus 53 the whole square. That I'll get as 9. 80 minus 53 the whole square. I'll get 729. Now multiply each of these values by the probability. 0.2 into 0.8, 1089. 0.5 into 9. 0.3 into 729. You can do it directly also. Need not prepare this column. Now risk of the security. Risk of M limited. Square root of summation of p into x minus r the whole square. Square root of 441. That is 21%. Same way I will do for n limited also. P1 minus P0 plus D1. Dividend is 3.5. Done. So you get the returns of n limited. Now same way you will prepare the table. Probability returns product x minus r the whole square p into x minus r the whole square. Okay. So risk is 14%. Then we got the risk as 21%. So M limited standard deviation is 21%. N limited standard deviation is 14%. Whichever company's shares have a higher standard deviation, those shares are carrying higher amount of risk. Those shares are carrying higher amount of risk. So we write the recommendation. Since standard deviation of M limited, since standard deviation of M limited is higher, shares of M limited are more risky. Shares of M limited are more risky than shares of N limited. Please, after you are sitting for the lecture, watching the lecture, making your notes, please go through your solutions again after the lecture is over and see if you are having any queries. I've told you, if you are having any queries, as many students are contacting, you can also contact me if you are having any queries on this number of mine. So any queries are there relating to any question, you are free to ask. It should be a two-way lecture, not a one-way lecture. Okay. Let us take up question 4 now. Information regarding security of Theta Limited and Aroma Limited are shown below. What is given? Probability is given, returns are given of both the securities. Compute expected returns from the portfolio and risk of the portfolio if investments in A and T is in the ratio of 70:30. And second case, case 2, it is in the ratio of 20:80. Offer your comments on the findings. First, let us organize this question. We are asked to calculate expected returns. So, expected returns from the portfolio. First, I'll calculate expected returns of each security. Aroma separate, Theta separate. How? Multiply the two. 0.5 into 6, 0.20 into 20, 0.50 into 20, 0.20 into 24, 0.05, 30. Likewise, I'll multiply these two figures and I will get Px in both the cases. That is my expected return of individual security. Then I take case 1, case 2. Case 1, if they are in the ratio of 70:30, 70% of my investment is in Aroma and 30% of my investment is in Theta. Case 2, 20% in Aroma and 80% in Theta. Okay, like that we have to do. So first what we have to do, we have to calculate the returns of individual security. So write down expected returns. Expected returns. Aroma Limited. Multiply 0.05 into 6, 0.20 into 12, 0.50 into 20, 0.20 into 24, 0.05 into 30. When you multiply all these figures, you'll be getting 19%. Theta Limited. Same way, each probability multiplied by the respective security returns. That will get us 27%. Let us now come to case 1. Portfolio we are forming of two securities, Aroma and Theta, in the ratio of 70:30. 70% of Aroma, 30% of Theta. How do you calculate returns of portfolio? Weights into returns. Weights into returns. 70%, that is 0.70 into 19 and 30 into 27. So 0.70 into 19 and 0.30 into 27. Weight into returns. So expected returns of the portfolio 0.7 into 19 plus 0.3 into 27. So that comes to 21.4%. 21.4%. Now see, nothing is given in the problem regarding correlation coefficient. Correlation coefficient is not given. So I will assume that correlation coefficient is 1, perfect positive correlation. So it simplifies my problem because if correlation coefficient is equal to +1, then my entire lengthy formula is reduced into those small formulas that we have derived in the last lecture when we were doing the formulas last session of the last lecture. we had derived that if it is plus 1 then what, if it is minus 1 then what. But we have to write the assumption. Let us write the assumption. In the absence of information, let us assume that let us assume that there is perfect positive correlation. Perfect positive correlation. But for that we require what? See, returns of portfolio have calculated. Standard deviation of portfolio, weight of A, aroma, into standard deviation of aroma. Now standard deviation of aroma is not given. I'll calculate now. Normal method. How do we calculate standard deviation of a security? Same way. P into X, then X minus R the whole square multiplied by P. Same way. So for aroma limited, all the probabilities written, returns, return, multiply the two, total you will get 19. We have done this in the first step. 19 we had got. Now each value of what we have done, RA minus RA bar. RA bar means what? Average. What is average? This is RA bar. This is RA bar. So each value 6 minus 19, 12 minus 19, 20 minus 19, 24 minus 19, 30 minus 19. That will be written here. So 6 minus 19, 12 minus 19, 20 minus 19, 24 minus 19, 30 minus 19. Now square this 13 square into probability. 13 square into probability. 8.45. 7 square 49 into probability 0.2. 1 square into 0.5. 5 square 25 into zero point 0.2. 11 square 121 into 0.05. 29.8. Standard deviation of aroma, square root of 29.8, that is 5.46. Up till here clear? Same way I have to do for theta limited also. Probabilities, returns, multiply, you'll get the product. What is 27 here? 27 is RT bar. RT bar. Returns of theta. RT means returns of theta. RT bar means average of the returns of theta. Same method. I'm not changing the method. Some of these questions are also there in your past papers, exam papers. Some of them are also there in your study material. Then the standard deviation of theta is square root of 59. So now with this I calculate standard deviation of portfolio. Simple formula, because correlation coefficient is supposed to be equal to 1. We have said that it is perfect positive correlation. So it is equal to 1. So we reduce it to this format. Weight of A into sigma of A. Weight of A 0.7. Sigma of A just calculated. Weight of T 0.3. Sigma T we have just calculated. Standard deviation of portfolio 6.12%. Now in the second part, what changes is only the ratio. And so 0.7 and 0.3 it is 0.2 and 0.8. 20 is to 80. 0.2 is to 0.8. So write down case 2. Portfolio of aroma and theta in the ratio of 20 is to 80. Expected returns of the portfolio 0.2 into 19 plus 0.8 into 27. 25.4%. Substitute. Now if you see the question, they've asked us to comment. And if you see in the solution, standard deviation of aroma is higher or standard deviation of theta is higher. Standard deviation of aroma is 5.46. Standard deviation of theta is 7.68. Correct? So which is higher? Standard deviation of theta is higher, which means that theta is much more riskier. Okay. Now if you see the risk of the portfolio in the two cases, in case 1 the risk is 6.12%. In case 2 it has increased to 7.23%. Risk of the portfolio has increased. Why it has increased? Because in the second case, proportion of the riskier portfolio is higher. 7.68 is multiplied by 0.8, whereas here 7.68 is multiplied by only 0.3. So the security which is having higher risk is more in case 2. So you write your recommendation. I purposely not put it over there. Write recommendation. What you will write in recommendation? Risk in case 2. Risk in case 2 is higher because proportion of riskier asset or riskier investment, that is theta, is higher, that is 80%. So the investment with higher risk is more in proportion. Therefore the risk is more. Interpretation, recommendation. Risk in case 2 is higher because proportion of the riskier investment, that is theta, is higher, that is 80%. Done? Understood? So you will have these types of questions only. Formulas are same. Formulas are the same 6 formulas that you are studying, but different type of questions. Now in question number 5, before we do, let me tell you that I have already told you before that the weights of all the securities in the portfolio should be equal to 1. Probabilities of all the values together should be 1. Total of weights should always be equal to 1. 30 plus 70, 0.30 plus 0.70 was 1. 0.2 plus zero point 0.8 is 1. So weights are always equal to 1. Okay. Now making use of that, let us solve question number 5. Question 5. T limited and A limited have low positive correlation coefficient of 0.5 given to us. Previous problem not given. Respective risk and returns is given. T limited 10% and 20% returns and standard deviation. A limited returns 15%, standard deviation 25%. Returns of portfolio is given to us, RP is given to us. What is required to be calculated? Proportion. What is proportion? Weights. W1 and W2. What is the proportion? What is the ratio in which I have to invest in the portfolio so that the returns of the portfolio is 11.45. Also calculate the risk of the portfolio. Also calculate risk of the portfolio. Let us see. Returns of the portfolio is 11.45%. Let the proportion in which investments are made be W1 and W2. Now in this case there are two securities A and T. So WA and WT. Let the proportion in which the investments are made be WA and WT. But what do we know of WA and WT? The total should be always equal to 1. Total should always be equal to 1. So WT is equal to 1 minus WA. Correct? What is the formula for returns of portfolio? Weight of A into returns of A plus weight of T into returns of T. RP is given to me, returns of portfolio is given to me, 11.45 equals to weight of A into returns of A is 15. WT is substituted by 1 minus WA into returns of T, that is 10. Evaluate this, I'll get the value of WA as 0.29, 29%. 0.29 means 29%. So WT will be 1 minus 0.29, that is 0.71. So investments should be made in A limited and T limited in the proportion of 29 is to 71. 29 is to 71. Now we know the weights, we know the returns of each security, we know the standard deviation of each security. We are given all those details. We are given correlation coefficient also. So now we are asked to calculate risk of the portfolio. Big formula. Risk of the portfolio. Big formula. Correlation coefficient. RAT. Substitute all the values. Weight of A 29.29. Sigma A 25. The whole square. 2 into weight of A 0.29 into weight of T 0.71. Sigma A 25. Sigma T 20. Correlation coefficient 0.5 plus 0.71 into 20 the whole square. Evaluate. Take the square root. It is 18.90%. 18.90%. Okay. Now, let us go to question number 6. Following information is available in the respect of 6 securities A, B, C, D, E, and F. Returns are given, the risk is given. Assuming 3 securities are to be selected, which one would be picked up? Assuming perfect correlation. Perfect correlation means perfect positive correlation. Rxy is equal to 1. State whether it is preferred to invest 75% in security and 25% in B. That means have a portfolio of A and C. Sorry, A and C. Have a portfolio of A and C, or to invest 100% entirely only in security E. First part of the question. 3 securities to be selected. How to select? Always a rational investor will be selecting those securities which give highest returns, irrespective of risk. Irrespective of risk, he will select those securities which give highest returns. Returns are highest, maximum returns is where 12% here. First one. This is number 1. After 12%, it is 9%. That is 2. Now, third security, there are 3 investments A, B, and F, all giving same returns. When such a situation arises, that security is giving, all the securities are giving same returns, I will check the risk. That security which gives minimum return for the same, minimum risk for the same returns will be selected. Now A, B, and F, out of that, the risk is minimum over here. So that means this becomes my third security. So first I will select security C. Second I will select security E. Third, I make a choice between A, B, and F. Whichever is having minimum risk, that is A, will be selected. Okay, let us write down this. Assuming that investor is a rational person. Assuming that investor is a rational person. He will select those securities. He will select those securities giving higher returns. Giving higher returns. Thus, the first 2 securities which will get selected, the first 2 securities which will get selected will be C and E respectively. Will be C and E respectively. Now, securities A, B, and F. Securities A, B, and F have the same returns of 8%. Have the same returns of 8%. But the risk is minimum for security A. But the risk is minimum for security A. Therefore, third security will be A. Third security will be A. Hence, the 3 securities will be C, E, and A respectively. C, E, and A respectively. So this is the first part of your question. The second part of the question says, should we invest by making a portfolio of A and C in the ratio of 75-25? Or should we invest entire amount in security E. Again, that will be decided on the basis of returns. If by forming a portfolio I get higher returns, I will invest in the portfolio. But if by forming portfolio I get less returns, I will invest entire amount in E. E returns are known to me. Okay. Suppose both are giving me same returns. Portfolio is also giving me the same return as what security E is giving me. Then I will see the risk of the portfolio and I will see the risk of E. Whichever has got lower risk, that will be selected. Followed? Okay. So let us write down. If investment is done 0.75 in A, if investment is done 0.75 in A and 0.25 in C, what will happen? Returns of that portfolio will be weight of the A into returns of A plus weight of C into returns of C. That is 0.75 into 8 plus 0.25 into 12. So that gives me 6 plus 3. Ayo, 9%. Look at the returns of E. Look in the problem. Returns of E, 9%. Hence both are having same returns. Portfolio also gives me 9% returns. And this is also giving me 9% returns. Correct, na? So now I will calculate security portfolio, the risk involved in the portfolio. How to calculate? Perfect positive correlation. Perfect positive correlation. So I write, since the two securities are perfectly correlated, the risk of the portfolio is equal to weight of A into sigma A plus weight of C into sigma C. Multiply. Now what do you find? Risk of security E is less than 6%. Less than 6%. So should I make an investment in portfolio or should I invest in E? Since the risk is lower in E, I will invest in E because both are giving me same returns, but E is giving me same return with low risk. So I write, on comparing the results, on comparing the results with security E, we find that returns are the same. Returns are the same, but the risk is comparatively lower. But the risk is comparatively lower in security E. Risk is comparatively lower in security E. Therefore, investment in security E will be preferred. Investment in security E will be preferred. Okay. Now, one of the queries, one of the suggestions of the student was, sir, why don't you come for a live lecture? Well, there are two reasons for this. Live lecture, I can come because I'm having all technology with me. I'm having Zoom facility also. I can come for a live lecture, but there are two issues here. Issue number one, all may not be having laptops. All may not be having high-end laptops, which will streamline the entire video. Second, in fact, I've got three issues. Second is that all the students may not have the same internet connectivity speed. So if you don't have the correct right amount of speed, streaming the lectures live, you will get all pixels, and then there will be stoppages and breakages in between. Point number, and if that happens, what happens is you miss the lecture. And if you miss the lecture, there is no live recording of that lecture. So you miss the lecture means that entire lecture is gone. I don't want that to happen because I want you to maintain the continuity of the lectures. Because all the topics are interconnected, interrelated. So you miss one lecture, that means you miss the link of the topics, and then you don't understand the next lecture. Point number three, there was a recent article, even you must have read it in the newspapers and in the magazines and on the internet, that Zoom had some security issues, that the data are not encrypted, and therefore there is possibility of theft, of hacking. That is, I don't have any secret data over here, but those who are going for articleship, those who are going for some kind of work, even for CA students, I tell them that if you are doing your articleship, don't use Zoom. The reason being that if you are having confidential data of your client, and because of some security issues, those data get hacked, then the client is not going to leave you. The same way, if you are working in some bank, if you are working in some company and you have got on your laptop the confidential data of those companies, then it is better you don't use Zoom. So there are issues with technology. There are issues with the things which are involved. See, I'm also involved in technology, deeply involved in technology. That is how I am able to give you all this. So I have taken a decision which is sound and safe for both of us. Okay, and then the timing becomes an issue. That I say lecture in the morning. Some students say, "Sir, we cannot have the lecture in the morning. I'm studying entire night, so I go to sleep in the morning." So timing issues will be there. So there are n number of issues. That is why I said I will record the lectures, upload it, and as and when you get the time. See, even I have not deleted the first topic. Security analyst also I have not yet deleted the topic. I've kept it as it is. I can understand the problems faced by some students that they are not able to see. So then also I have made the adjustment. Okay. So I will try level best from my side to put whatever is possible from my side, to whatever length it is possible, 1.5 hours, 2 hours, as the case may be. So that will be going on. So leave the rest to me. Your portion will be completed, SFM will be completed to your satisfaction. Okay. So we end the lecture here. I'll continue with more additional theory concepts in the next lecture, and then we'll take up questions based on those particular concepts. But remember that next lecture, third lecture, is going to be very, very important. Do not miss the lecture because I'm going to explain to you the core concepts of this particular topic of portfolio management. Okay, so till the next lecture, stay at home, stay safe. God bless you.